What is your perfect job? That's a hard question. And it's a really hard question as you're kind of starting off in your academic pursuits. Maybe you're fresh out of high school. Maybe you're coming back from a career. Maybe you're retooling. But regardless, when you start in education, your educational path, that question comes up a lot. Hello, everybody. This is Nick Terrell, Professor of Information Technologies and Computer Science, Lakeland Community College. Let me give you a quick background about myself. Many, many years ago, I went off to college. I was a full time student. At the time, information technology, computer science was something that just interested me. So I got a baccalaureate in computer science, and at no point in that time did I think I wanted to be a teacher. I do think for many of us that may creep into our mind very, very quickly because, especially if you've been nothing but a student for years, you kind of think, maybe teaching is something I can do. But I can honestly say, I don't remember anything creeping into my mind saying I really wanted to be a teacher. Over the next decades, plural, my career path changed. But I will tell you, in my career path, at no point did I deviate from technology. I was a coder for many, many years. I became a network technician. Somewhere in there, somebody saw something in me, long story about that, won't go into it, that they said, you might want to think about teaching this stuff. You seem to have a natural knack for conveying the information. And I kind of drifted over. And then, again, another long story, bam, I became a professor. And I've been doing that for decades. But at no point did I think, that was going to be my path. That was going to be my perfect job. But at a certain point, that's where I landed. And it became my perfect job or career. Let's go up to this particular assignment and see what I'm looking for. And let me kind of break some things down here. All right, in this assignment, there's two parts to this assignment. You're not looking anything up as you may have done in other assignments. There's no matching or anything like that. And in the first question of this assignment, it says, before you start a job search, it's important to determine what is important to you. What is your perfect job? And what I want you to do here is think about 10 things that would make that particular career something you're really interested in. It can be looking for a sizable paycheck. Who doesn't like getting paid? Some people like to travel. Some people like to stay in their region. But come up with 10 reasons why or what would be a perfect situation for you. And maybe perfect is a hard word, but why would that make that working condition better than in other situations? So just spend a little time and do 10 characteristics of a perfect job. Don't worry about title. Don't worry about specifics. This is about you coming up with 10 bullet pointed items. If it's 8, fine. If it's 12, fine. But keep it into a manageable number. 1 or 2 is not going to cut it. And then take that information, take those points, and see, it's important that we understand that by writing those things down, you may hear the term affirmation, where when you write something down, it implants it in your head. Long definition about affirmation there, but that gives us working knowledge. The simple process of taking a thought and writing it down onto a piece of paper has significant potential to direct you. So that's why I want you to do those 10. But once you get the 10, then the next thing is in 280 characters, not words, characters. I'll explain why characters in a second. Look at your list and determine and write down which of your items are a must have, would like to have, or can do without. Start prioritizing. Maybe there's 3 that you absolutely have to have. And maybe there's 3 or 4 that, yes, those I would love to have, but you know what, I can compromise on. And then the last 3, they're there, that it's not that important. And all you're doing here is you're prioritizing your list. You're writing it down, you're taking your thoughts, and you're writing it down. Now, to me, what is I think is interesting here is 280 characters. Now, most of you know where that number come from. that is the typical size. At one time, it was the maximum size of a tweet on X, formerly what was called Twitter. Now, you may never have used Twitter. I don't use Twitter. I've tried, it didn't work for me. But 280 characters also allows you to get brevity, where you can now synthesize your answers into short, manageable ideas. So when somebody asks you, what is your perfect job? You don't have to be kind of like me where I ramble on and on and on, but you can say, okay, here is what I'm looking for, and these are the things that are critical to me. These are the things I'm willing to compromise on, etc. So it's the brevity, and I just thought, wow, 280 characters, that's a tweet. That's not that much. That's a relatively short texting dialogue between you and a friend. So if you can take your thoughts, get them down to 10 manageable items, and then synthesize those down to 280 characters, not words, you now have kind of a plan of attack to what you're going. If you're watching this video and you're not one of my students, try this exercise. It is just really a fun exercise to do. So let's wrap some things up. What is your perfect job? You know what? You have a lot of years ahead of you to work and a lot of years ahead of you to plan for that perfect job. Expect a career change, but even for myself, I knew I wanted to be in technology. So one of the top 10 things I would say is to stay in technology. Maybe somewhere along the lines, I would say, be an educator or be a coder or something like that. But I knew one of the things I did not want to compromise on was to stay in the most current technology. So there's a beginning. Some things I would have written 40 years ago, didn't mean to say that. Some things I've written 40 years ago, I would not have put on a list now. 40 years ago, I would love to travel. I would love to do business travel. I've done business travel. There's a reason it's called business travel versus enjoyment vacation travel. So that may be something that I would put on 40 years ago that I would not put on now. Staying geographically located was not a priority to me 40 years ago. It's a priority to me now. So that 10 list, that 10 bullet pointed list, that's going to change. All I'm concerned about is right now. What is your plans? What are your top 10? How do you manage them? And then come out with some kind of brevity in that regard. So that being said, let's go and learn something.